Introducing EC Resume Editing Services, your gateway to career success. Are you ready to stand out from the crowd? Their expert team of editors is here to elevate your resume to new heights. Find EKKE Resume Editing Services exclusively on Fiverr. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is February the 2nd, 2024, and today the topic is Rejoice. Happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday, everybody. I hope that you guys had a wonderful Thursday. Mine was just fine. Yep, mine was good overall. Y'all know it was a work day for me over there at Mountain West Church. Um, all is well and went well. I feel like my work days are much longer now. It's funny. Again, last year when I first got brought on, and again with the previous director that I was working with, things like that, like everything was kind of like cut and dry to where um I did my task, and a lot of times I would get my task done early, right? But now I'm actually, staying for my entire shift and everything like that. So that was interesting to observe yesterday. Um, yesterday, my first quote unquote set design for the theme that we're doing this month. Uh, we got that together and whatnot. There's parts of it that I'm liking a little better than some other parts. Um, but I might try to get some photos or something like that for social media so y'all can see what your girl been working on and doing and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, we was getting some of that, and then I was asked to come do childcare tonight, um, and whatnot. So that's a blessing, So I'll be doing that tonight if the Lord's will. Um, updates. So updates in regards to my pitch. Well, my pitch to sell tickets. I guess technically has been denied, but um, they did want to, I guess, sow into what I'm doing. So they're like being intentional about pretty much letting me know that hey, whatever you spend, turn it in or like turn in the receipts for vibes. And I'm like, okay, um, that's cool, that's cool. I'm not, upset about that. I mean, that's at least something in regards to because again, I was spinning out and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm still thinking because they're leaving it up to me whether I should do the Miracle Lab every week. And I mean, it would have been a nice little extra thing in order to sell tickets. And then, because then I could have made these nice packages with my books and, everything like that. Plus, I still have all these lab coats that were donated to me that I was supposed to either sell or I was supposed to either use them. And I still have not used them yet. They're kid lab coats. And I mean, maybe one day I'll have a venue again and I'll be able to host a Miracle Lab from there. But until then, I'm kind of operating where I can operate, which I'm grateful for. I mean, it's definitely giving me the space and opportunity to use my gifts and perform and create and things like that. But it just looks different, than what I imagined it would be. Um, so I'm thinking. I mean, I'm still thinking about should I go ahead and just do the Miracle Lab weekly, anyway. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I'm because I mean it would be a lot, Again, then I would be in character, and you know what I'm saying, and then I had to create the curriculum and all of that different type of stuff. So I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, could it be different if I was again having the additional option for income? But it's not all about the income either. You know what I'm saying? I think more so the reason I'm still considering it is because one, it will add structure to the Wednesdays. Two, um, any chance to play the character and stuff is good, at least for me. And then 3, um, it's challenging myself to stretch myself to create and stuff. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna seek the Lord and see what the Lord do. But I gotta make a decision real quick because it's coming around the corner and everything like that. Speaking of that, is there anything else I felt like of significance yesterday to share? Oh yeah. Speaking back of Mountain West. So I might be co-hosting another podcast, y'all. I was chit-chatting with the next generation director, the gentleman that's over all of us, all the ministries or whatever, the kids, students, preschool, nursery, and he was sharing with me, I guess, pretty much what he wants to do with. He wants to create a podcast for the parents and whatnot, like a parenting podcast, and he asked me to co-host, and so I'm like, oh. Um, so yeah, we're gonna see what that does as well and what that means. But I mean, I know what co-hosting means, but I'm saying what that means for like my schedule, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. But um, yeah, so that's on the table as well. So I mean, there's a lot of, again, amazing new things on the table. So we're gonna see what the Lord do, and how all of this is going to roll. Because again, I know that I can sit here and be like, again, oftentimes I do feel like, oh well, I'm not doing enough, and then I find myself in moments where I'm doing so much or whatever. So we're gonna see. I'm not gonna worry about any of the things. I'm just letting y'all know that in the event that you see a girl with another podcast, whatever, that's what's going on. And that one's gonna be powered through the church. But anyway, yeah, I guess that's all of significance to share about yesterday. I mean, I'm still, of course, planning the show. That's next weekend, not this Saturday, so not tomorrow, but the Saturday after next. And and everybody's excited. I'm excited. I put out another promo image yesterday and whatnot. There's a lot of things to consider and whatnot as well. So y'all just, I mean, those that pray to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, keep your girl in prayer that I, continue to just walk for, and as well as make the best decisions, but also walk into the open doors and blessings and windows of opportunity that the Lord has given me. Speaking of that, I guess I would say that gives me a lot of reasons to rejoice, and everything like that. And yeah, get into today's conversation. Now, I know that we may not always feel like we are in that place to rejoice. Like, matter of fact, I had a conversation with my husband briefly this morning, and I don't think he's in the place uh, to rejoice or whatever the case may be. Um, but I mean, I guess the challenge for us, right? Even if we don't feel like we're in the place, can we still rejoice? Um, you know, Again, I get it that sometimes you may not feel like it. Sometimes you're like, what rejoice for what? I'm in this rut, or I'm in this low place, or whatever the case may be. And even when the Lord put rejoice on my heart and mind, I wasn't too sure. I mean, yeah, I was getting confirmations for myself about perhaps the place that I'm currently in and stuff like that. And again, I just shared with you guys so many windows and doors of opportunity um are open for me right now, where I feel like there's lots to rejoice about. Now, even when I was going through again last month, this feeling like I'm trying to play catch up, or feeling like I guess the spiritual attack and whatnot, or the spiritual warfare that I was going through last month and whatnot, especially at the beginning of the month, um may not have felt like the best time to rejoice, but at the same time I still found things to be grateful for, right? Things to be thankful for. Again, another day of life was something to be grateful and thankful for. Seeing a new year, a great thing to be grateful and thankful for, especially knowing, again, all the things I had just been through, in the final weeks of Abundance 2023. So, there we can still find reasons and to rejoice. But it's, do you want to do that? Like, can you challenge yourself to do that in your low moments. And so I hope that this can be encouraging and inspiring to you to do that. I would say the inspiration pretty much just came from, I guess I woke up randomly last night, I think around like 10, it must have been 10:54. But when I put the information in to Google so I could keep a note of that time, apparently I had put 10:64, which we know that can't be. And I didn't realize it until now. So I found that there was a verse that I came across that is actually Psalm 64:10, that it led me to. And I also, took a look at the Strong's Concordance and whatnot as well using 10:64. But then, yeah, I realized that, wait, that must have been a typo. But even with it being a typo, it still was word, and everything like that. So here is what Psalm 64:10 says. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord and shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. When I read that this morning, it resonated with me for a lot of reasons. Because again, we know that I guess the treasures of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. We know at the end of the day who's going to win. Even when we go through the down seasons, even when we go through again life and trials and tribulations, we know as believers that God is in control, and all things will work together for the good of those that love God. So it pays, right, to remain righteous and ultimately, like this says here, trusting in Him. You know, again, I know it's a challenge. I know again when you're facing adversity or when you're facing situations, you're like, I don't see you in this, Lord. I've been there as well. I'm like, man, but I think that's when I guess it behooves us to seek the Lord, right? In those moments, search for him and you will find him. And again, yeah, I believe even in the down, sad, whatever the case may be, all those different times in our lives that we go through, you can still trust in the Lord and you can see God working in your life. I feel like, wasn't we talking about that the other day, about something about God working in our lives? But regardless, that verse was, ultimately the inspiration. And so ultimately, the word rejoice came into my heart and mind. And so again, it made me glad. It made me glad to know that, okay, well, Lord, I know I just went through a month where it didn't feel the best. Like that wasn't the best start of a new year. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't the best end of Abundance 2023. And the whole year was amazing. But that last couple of weeks was like, ugh. And then we transitioned into the new year with that energy, or at least for me personally. I will say for my family as well, but I mean, everybody again handled different things differently or whatever. So I'm just saying for me personally, it was, if I compare it to the way again, January 2023, the beginning, like again, we brought in the new year with my son singing Hallelujah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the main memory from last year. But this year, I brought in a new year, sick in bed, and all this different type of stuff. So again, all of those things can try to influence us in our, our hearts, our minds, and even how we interact with God. But again, can you find, you know, can you trust God even in those moments, even in that, again, you're sick or whatever the case may be? Can you trust the Lord? And I believe that those that do, we can ultimately rejoice in the good and the bad, right? We can find joy, hope, peace, love, fruits of the spirit, things of that nature. Speaking of rejoice, let me go ahead and give you guys the definition. It says, feel or show great joy or delight. Like I said, when that word came into my heart and mind this morning, it made me feel warm inside. And again, maybe it's because I had gotten so many little social media reminders that the Lord is with me, that He's working, and that things are working out for my good. And I already know, I see it happening. And I just shared with you guys several ways that, again, the Lord has, been working in my life and things like that. And again, even with me waking up and doing this whole, doing the juice and everything like that, like this is, you know, dream life. Like I didn't know I was going to be into, ministry the way I am, like at the church I'm going to, and I didn't know, that I'm going to be, I can't say I didn't know I was going to be producing shows and stuff. I think, I kind of knew that, but I didn't know it was going to be to the capacity that it is. Um, but I mean, hey, again, but all those years ago, right? Especially during the cultivation period, right? All those years ago, 10 plus years for me. Um, when I was sitting alone in my apartment and getting visions of and getting inspiration for business ideas and and all these different type of things and knowing that I wanted to get to that place, and again desiring love and marriage and all that, and knowing that those different desires in my heart, but not having it at all, and not even knowing my husband at all, and not seeing any examples of the type of man and things like that, and so all of those things in that down moment, right? I had to trust the Lord and lean and depend on Him and His vision, His will, His way for my life, versus keeping trying to do my own thing, and then get bogged down by, again, the things that I'm seeing around me. I had to live in faith. I had to walk by faith and put that faith and trust in the Lord rather than myself. And so ultimately here I am today, and I can sit here and share with everybody, hey, let's find ways to rejoice um in all things, right? Not just the good, but also the bad. I know that might be some pulp you don't want to hear that, but I mean, I find the more I again seek the Lord in my low seasons, I find out that my seasons are so low, you know. And so anyway, let me go ahead and give you guys some more Bible verses, because I feel like I've been just sharing. So let's go ahead and share with you guys Psalm 5:11. It says, "But let all who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them ever sing for joy and spread your protection over them, that those who love you, or excuse me, love your name, may exalt in you." You know, I guess as I was reading this verse here, man, I guess what was coming into my heart and mind about this first part, I think it was kind of just standing out to me, this part about that as we take refuge in God, and as we, we're singing the praises and stuff like that. Again, we know that that might look foolish to people, right? If say, for example, again, you're in a down season and you find a way to start praising the Lord, right? You find a way to lean and depend on Him, put your trust in Him. And some people from the outside would look at you like you crazy. You sick. How you gonna be praising the Lord? I mean, they did it to Job. I ain't got to sit here and give you too many examples. Y'all can see it in the Bible. They like Job and his friends, or Job's wife, curse your God and die. You know, he done took everything away from you in X, Y, and Z. What did you do to cause this X, Y, and Z, right? So I get it. It might look foolish, right? It might look crazy. It might look like you ain't got no sense at all, or whatever the case may be. But we can't worry about what we look like, right? At the end of the day, just that is a testimony by itself. Because to the next person that's going through what they're going through, they could look to you and say, man, they was able to praise through their situation. They was able to trust the Lord, even though they were sick, even though they were going through, even though they were, in a low season and all that different type of stuff. And that is actually, in accordance to this verse, is spreading protection over us. I mean, did y'all receive that when y'all heard that? Let me read it again. "But let all who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them ever sing for joy and spread your protection over them, that those who love your name may exalt in you." I mean, so this is, again, yes, it's a form of protection to, again, lean and depend on the Lord, praise, trust, and walk by faith. I mean, I can't reiterate it enough. I know it's hard to do, y'all. Again, and when you're in those low moments, it's like, man, I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I guess I'm challenging us today, and I'm challenging you. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, then look for that light. Look for it. A lot of times we don't see it because we want to focus on the dark. And you know what? I felt like I saw something about that recently. But anyway, ultimately, yeah, we want to focus on the problem, right? Focus on the issue or whatever the case may be, rather than focusing on, um, you know, not say how God's going to get you out, but just knowing that He will. Like, there's something about just having faith, knowing that God's going to handle this situation. I may not understand how and why and what kind of way, but I mean, I just seen this happening in my life so much, y'all. The more I stop trying to handle it myself, right? The more I stop trying to, let the issues of life bog me down and keep me down, the more I see God moving. I just told y'all last week, or was it earlier this week, about a situation or whatever case may be. And I know people might not want to hear what I share, and they might not like that I did it the way I did it or whatever like that. But at the same time, I'm like, if I didn't do it, I wouldn't have been able to see God move, and I wouldn't have been able to share it. So hey, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm trusting the Lord. I'm not going to lean on my own understanding. And I know that can sound crazy to those that aren't ready and willing to do that. But those that are, I hope that you're being encouraged and inspired right now. I got another verse. It's Romans 5:3-4. It says, not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. At the end of the day, that could be the reason why you're suffering, friend, because you need to build up your character. You listen. Suffering produces endurance. Are you ready to endure? Like, how are we going to endure any of the persecution and tribulation of the future, right, if we can't even endure and trust the Lord to provide our daily bread? I mean, and I get it. I know, y'all, this might sound crazy. Y'all like, we got bills, we gotta eat, we gotta keep a roof over our head. You crazy. All I know is, listen, the more I lean and depend on the Lord, and the more I just let Him do His thing, the more I see Him providing, making a way, opening doors, giving opportunities, and people that don't know me at all, just listen. I ain't even told y'all how many times over the past week that my Fiverr business has been like getting hits. Just all of a sudden, everybody want me to start promoting their stuff on Fiverr. Just it has to be at least something between 3 or 5. No, it's not. It's more than 3. So probably like 4 or 5 sales over the past week. Now, y'all might say that's a coincidence that just in this particular week of need, all of a sudden people just want me to start promoting, their endeavors and things like that. So much so where eventually, like I told you guys about one opportunity that didn't go through Fiverr, but it was still an opportunity and made a way, right? And not only blessed me, but blessed internationally. You know what I'm saying? And so, hey, call me crazy, but at the same time, I'm encouraging you and inspiring you to try this for yourself. At the end of the day, God is not a respecter of a person. What He can do for me, He can do for you. And so I hope that you're encouraged and inspired by that. Understand that, yes, we can rejoice during our suffering. Matter of fact, again, when you're suffering, and I know it, listen, I just went through, I wouldn't say it was a month of suffering, but I went through some suffering last month, especially mentally. And so, but even in those moments, I found reasons to praise the Lord. I was like, wow, I went to work that day, 3 days of being sick, or however many days it was, home in the bed, and I had enough energy to go to work, and stuff like that. Instead of going to work on the day that I usually work, I was trying to go early because my cousin's funeral was that day, my regular work day. I go into work and I couldn't even really even do nothing. I went in, I sat down to eat a little bit, and then I went to go meet one of my coworkers to ask a question. And then next thing I know, I'm blubbering, I'm crying, I'm spilling all the little, information about like things that was keeping me down or getting me down and things like that. And they ended up sending me home and like, look, we'll cover you. Don't worry about it. Go on home, get your rest. Da 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 da. We'll make sure your tasks are done. X, Y, and Z. And even in that, I found reasons to, like, first my tears might have been of sorrow and the stress or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, my tears turned to rejoicing. Why? Because I had people there to cover me. I had people there to pray for me. I had people there to, assist me and things of that nature. And what a blessing that is to have at a quote unquote job, you know? And so that's what I'm saying. Like, you can, in your low moments, you can still see God moving if you look. And I guess that's the juice. The Bible verse of today is, oh, do I got another verse? I think I got one more. No, it's just the Bible verse that's saying. So the Bible verse of today is Matthew 18:12. It says, how think ye, if a man have 101 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, doth he not leave the 99 and goeth into the mountains and seeketh that which is gone astray? You guys can ask yourself that question. I don't know, again, who you are and what you would do. Like, if you had 100 sheep and you lost one, would you go and find the others, or the one that's gone? We know that Christ did and does that for each and every one of us. I'm glad to have been, a little bound by the Lord and everything like that, so I can be here and giving daily inspiration and things like that. But yeah, man, that's the Bible verse of today. That's the juice, and I hope that it has encouraged and inspired you to rejoice. Friends, you guys know that today is Friday, so we have a new episode of the GSL Talk Show coming out tonight at 7 p.m. It's with Mr. Daryl Lyons. He is the CEO of Pax Financial Group, and he's also a podcast host as well. So I hope that you guys tune in tonight and hear all about him and his endeavors. But yeah, man, y'all have a fabulous Friday, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out.
Get ready for an exhilarating experience like never before. Join New Bethel AME in Lithonia, Georgia for a cruise to worship, an event that blends the thrill of car enthusiasm with the spirit of worship. All are welcome to rev up your engines and hit the open road and come together in fellowship. So save the date, February 18th at New Bethel AME in Lithonia, Georgia, Cruise to Worship, where faith and engines unite.